Well, good evening, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritzman here, live at Michigan Storm Chasers with my partner in crime, Ryan. Say hello, Ryan.
Hello, everybody.
And we are the Michigan Storm Chasers here. It is currently 7 o'clock on this lovely Saturday evening, depending on where you are in the state. Maybe not so lovely. Continuous freezing rain has been ongoing out there across portions of northern lower today. And that will increase as we get into the overnight hours tonight. There's a little bit of a lull today in terms of precipitation, but for some it has not stopped. So we're going to go ahead and dive into some of the winter weather first and then get over to our severe weather for tomorrow. So starting with our HRRR run, this is the 18Z from this afternoon. So we're going to go ahead and take it hour by hour here. You can see this is 7 o'clock, so it's about right now. It matches up what we're seeing on radar. As we get into the midnight time frame, that freezing rain starts to creep back into the southern Upper Peninsula. We also have a mix over to snow moving in for western Upper Peninsula, Keweenaw Peninsula area. Then as we get into the 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to 5 a.m., 6 a.m. time frame, that completely fills in for Menominee County, portions of like the Straits of Mackinac, for example, southern Mackinac County, and even up there in northern lower. Again, some of that precipitation is actually going to wobble back to the north a little bit, perhaps. But that will be the case throughout your Sunday, as that precipitation just stays consistent. Again, that's going to be Emmett, Sheboygan, Presque Isle County up there. It's going to be getting hammered the most in terms of freezing rain. And then as we get into the evening hours on Sunday, you can obviously, it's a little bit of a spoiler there in terms of like the severe weather, but up there by the Straits, the freezing rain really starts to take over. You also have perhaps a couple gusty winds and some small hail embedded within some thunderstorms that will be also falling at the same time as freezing rain. And at the same time, we also have that snow that will be continuous throughout the day on the western side of the UP, as indicated by those blues on radar. And then as we get into the overnight hours into Monday, so this is going to be about it's about midnight to 1 a.m. Snow then moves to the east. This will essentially change over from a freezing rain to snow for pretty much everybody up there. And then obviously with our cold front moving through on Monday, this is going to bring a lot more cold air in, and then perhaps some snow flurries as far south as like the state line. Not accumulating by any chance for your Monday time frame, but it is something to monitor. Obviously, as you can see, that little band of snow crosses the state for your Monday afternoon time frame. So for those who have been hanging out in the 70s the last couple days down there in southern Michigan, this is going to be kind of a slap in the face for you guys. But nevertheless, warm weather will return as we get into the midweek time frame. Another chance for severe weather there, which we'll obviously mention here in a little bit. That is your snow and ice. We're going to go over to our totals here real quick off the HRRR as well. The HRRR, however, we're probably going to have to scratch because this has a lot of the snow moving pretty much a little bit further south than our models or our forecast calls for. That is some intense amounts, but if we switch over to our NBM, that gives you a better picture of what's to fall through Monday. More of an actual decent measurement. Again, the NBM model is a collection of about 40 to 50 different models that kind of averages it all out. So you're looking at about 8 to 12 there in the upper slopes west of Marquette, as well as over towards Houghton County, Ontonagon County, and even I believe that's northern Iron County, as well as that's going to be Alger County there along the Lake Superior shoreline. And again, some snow flurries are possible in the lower peninsula for your Monday time frame, but they will not be really accumulating that much unless you're really close to the northeast corner of Lake Michigan. So that's your snowfall in terms of an average there. We're going to go over to ice accumulation, and we use the word egregious in terms of some of the models that you see. Just if you pick them apart, for example, if we go over to like the Euro, for example, here, once I get it up, that's a lot better than what it was actually earlier today. I know the Canadian was quite crazy this afternoon when I saw it. There you go. There's your morning model run off the Canadian, and we were like, that's way too much. So again, we use the NBM for your average, and that shows you through Monday time frame here that a lot of the areas will see over that 0.25 inch mark for a classified ice storm for northern lower, as well as all along the Lake Michigan and Lake Huron shoreline in the Upper Peninsula, where totals of over half an inch of ice is projected to fall on top of what you guys have already gotten up there today. So it's just back-to-back ice storms. Not too much melting occurred up there today, if at all any, and so this will just accumulate on top of what has already fallen, continuously bringing down more trees, more power lines, and leading to very impassable and drivable roads. So ice tolls out there. I don't have the maps pulled up on me, but ice tolls, we have them over another 4/10 of an inch for pretty much.
Joel.
Do you do?
Go ahead and take my screen. I do.
Okay, perfect. I will take Ryan's screen. There's your ice totals. Those are 0.2 to 0.4 inch range, pretty much all along that Lake Michigan shoreline in the UP. And anywhere in the purple zone you see there is greater than 4/10 of an inch projected between now and the start of Monday. Or I guess you could just say through the Monday morning time frame there. You also see the hatched risk on there as well, the diagonal black lines. That is because some of those ice rates tonight and tomorrow throughout the day will be greater than 0.05 inches per hour. So that will accumulate rather quickly on top of what has already fallen. And yeah, that will be your ice. And then if you want to flip it over to the snow real quick as well, you have it there. That is your snowfall totals that we're predicting. Pretty much all that heavy snow is going to fall in the northern half of Lake Superior tomorrow. We have a 6 to 12 range and a 4 to 8 range. We added the plus because there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of wobbling in that freezing line moving north and south, and a lot of that's actually going to fall as sleet. There's some places in Menominee County, perhaps southern Dickinson County, that could see up to 3 to 4 inches of just sleet alone, which would fall into the snow category that we have on here. So that 4 to 8 could pretty much be 90% sleet. So keep that in mind if you're there, especially in southern Upper Peninsula. But that is your kind of last call in terms of your ice and snow for tonight through Sunday and even into Monday for the UP and Northern Lower. And again, these maps can be found on our Facebook page at Michigan Storm Chasers. Other than that, Ryan, you can take it away with the severe side of things for tomorrow as well.
Yep. So looking at the first and foremost, I want to say power outage map here. We have 55,000 people in northern Michigan without power from this ice storm. Round 2 is just starting here, so more power outages to come for northern lower, perhaps parts of the UP as well. But going into these severe weather, I like to start with the SPC and also work our way into our version, our forecast as well. So I want to start here and just say this is the SPC's version of the severe weather outlook. All the way up in the UP in light green, we could have some general thunderstorms. The severe risk starts roughly around that Roscommon, Gaylord, Alpena area in dark green. Down further south from Grand Rapids to Alma through the Tri-City Saginaw over toward about, what's over there, Port Hope-ish area. That's a slight risk in yellow. That goes down to the Indiana-Ohio border. And if we notice, we do have in level 3 enhanced risk there for portions of southern Michigan. Let's go ahead and take a look at the models here. Look at our scoop and our version of what we're kind of thinking in terms of hazards and all that. So going into the wide regional view here, we'll go over this first. I'll zoom into Michigan here in just a second. So starting tomorrow morning-ish, we're going to have continued freezing rain and snow for the north. We're going to have some showers, maybe some thunderstorms across like the Manistee, Ludington, Big Rapids area to start our morning into the early afternoon period. Attention turns to the mid-afternoon time frame, especially to our south and west, as we do have development of thunderstorms off into Illinois, Indiana. That will push into Michigan here roughly right around 5 o'clock or so in the evening/afternoon tomorrow. So 5 p.m., watch for the storms to ramp up there across western Michigan. Going hour by hour now, here is 6 p.m., and by 6 p.m., these storms explode into a nasty-looking line of storms across the southern part of Michigan, as well as back down through the Indiana and Illinois areas. Going forward here to 7 o'clock, that continues to push east, a little bit north, so we're going to say east-northeast across the state here, 7 o'clock. Here is 8 o'clock. It begins to weaken just slightly there, but then by 9 o'clock, it is starting to push out of the state, and by 10 o'clock, the worst is out. So main time frame on the models currently from west to east, right around 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It could be a bit earlier or a bit later. Those are your general time frames. So again, west side starting as early as perhaps 3 or 4 o'clock. Could be as late as 5 or 6 o'clock, and these storms should be out of the state by no later than midnight tomorrow. All right, taking a look and zooming into the Michigan region, the Michigan area, so you have a little bit better of a localized look at things. Go ahead and back this up here. Got to switch my model back to the afternoon run. There we go. Let's go ahead and run this forward here. So moving into the morning hours, some showers, and again, snow and freezing rain further north. Get through the afternoon hours. Here's 4, here's 5, here's 6 p.m., here's 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. And by about 11 o'clock, we just have some lingering showers, perhaps a remote thunder behind it. Those should not be a huge concern. But I want to stop it right here, right about any of these frames, really. I want to talk about what type of hazards we're going to have tomorrow. So this is a line, all right? There's a pretty condensed, solid line starting right around the Ithaca area, down south into the Indiana zone. So if we go back to this morning's model run here over on Pivotal Weather, we're going to see a little bit different story here. So on this run from the morning, these storms right about here are more isolated in nature. All right. So we're still a little bit of uncertainty here in regards to what type of storm mode we're going to have tomorrow. Is it going to be individual cells? Is it going to be a line of storms? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say this now. If we get individual cells like this, like the morning model had, I do think a higher tornadic risk would exist. If we get more of a line segment like the latest afternoon guidance has like this, it'd be more of a wind threat with perhaps isolated tornadoes spinning up within that line. We're going to keep an eye on models tonight into the morning. We'll have a better idea tomorrow morning, but I think the storm mode is going to dictate what kind of hazards we're going to see. But putting all that aside, what are the hazards we're kind of keeping an eye on? Let's go ahead and talk about our forecast here for you guys. So we're going with a elevated risk across Branch, Hillsdale, Lenawee, Monroe counties. We also hatched it for significant wind gusts, I believe, Joel, is that correct?
That's
so
correct.
wind gust above 75 miles per hour is possible. And that's, again, mainly if we see that line form. If we have individual cells, it's going to be kind of harder to get those bigger gusts. But if you have a line, a bit easier to get gusts, okay? So further south there, especially across the Ohio-Indiana border counties, has the highest risk tomorrow. Going further north up to about that Grand Rapids, over toward about Flint, toward Lexington, that's your medium risk. That's a level 3 on our scale. That's going to be mainly, again, for all hazards, wind, hail, perhaps a tornado as well. Further north, though, we have a very thin strip of a low chance, and anything really north of that is limited mainly for hail. If you live in the yellow, green, or orange zones, you do have that risk primarily for all hazards, especially in orange. Let's go ahead and talk about our hazards, though, starting with the tornado outlook. Anything really north of that green area is a pretty, fairly low chance of a tornado happening. Once you get in that green, especially that red-brown color, that's when we have our bigger concern for tornadoes. Right now, the highest we have is up to a right around 10% probability for a tornado or two in the state of Michigan. Up there in the green zone, up to a 3% or so, 2.9 to be exact, risk, and that for the north, and that's less than 1%. So really just south of Mount Pleasant, south of Clare, south of the Tri-Cities is your risk for tornadoes. Anything north of that would be mainly a hail threat. Here's your wind risk here. Highest, again, in that red zone where we hatched it for 75 miles per hour or higher. That's going to be up to a 40% chance of a damaging wind gust there in that zone. Going further north into the yellow zone, up to 25% chance there from Stanton to Grand Rapids over to the Tri-Cities, Lexington, Flint areas. Then further north, it's a lower end risk, not a zero risk, but a lower, less than 5% risk all the way up toward about that Mackinac, Sheboygan area. And then last but not least, the hail risk. A little bit lower overall, but still it's pretty good chance across much of the southern part of Michigan. So really an all hazards threat here. We're not too concerned for extremely large hail, but just your standard quarter size hail would be the expectation with these storms. I think the hail threat would be higher as well if storms remain more discrete or isolated in nature. If you get a line segment, it's going to turn mostly to a wind dominant threat. So in order from most concerning to least concerning, wind, hail, and then tornadoes, and depending on storm mode, we'll have to adjust that tomorrow based on what we see happening with latest models and looking at real-time data known as mesoanalysis. So that is the gist of the forecast tomorrow. Again, going through the SPC, this is our version. Going back to the SPC here, we are in a slight risk with that southern part of Michigan in enhanced risk. So we're kind of a good agreement here with the SPC. So we like to give you both spins on things, give you our opinion, give you SPC opinion, eat it all out, get a forecast going here. So with that being said, I believe we covered everything. Again, main time frame between, we're going to say 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., or really 3 p.m. to about midnight or so, centered around 5 p.m. to about 10 p.m. All right. Joel will have a timing graphic made on the page later this evening. So if you guys want to see a map with start times, end times, stuff like that, Joel will have you covered a little bit later on after the stream here. And I believe that is everything I have to cover in terms of the severe event. I will mention one more thing before anybody asks. There is a day 5 outlook here from the SPC for the middle of next week, Wednesday to be exact. We are in a slight risk up to about the Mount Pleasant area, so Grand Rapids, Flint, points southward. We could have another round of severe weather starting on that midweek time frame, Wednesday, April 2nd to be exact. Too far out for specifics. Please don't ask about, hazards like tornadoes, wind, hail. We don't know yet. We're not going to know until we probably get to about Monday or Tuesday. A better idea. So just put in the back of your brain, let's get through this weekend first, and then we can start focusing on that midweek next week. All right.
Let me go back to mine because I know I wanted to go over Slim a little bit.
Yep, go ahead, Joel.
So this is, I'm going to have to scroll up just a little bit here. Maybe not. It's going to just be kind of cut off at the bottom there. Oh, actually, I'll turn off the warning bar. So this is going to be what we call Slim. So shear, lift, instability, moisture. It's the 4 main ingredients we look for on our severe weather days. So we're going to get a little bit technical here. But shear is the first one, which is your measure of change of wind speed and wind direction with height. This is primarily just wind speed over a 6 kilometer difference here. I need to go back to the 18Z because it's on the latest one. If we go into our Sunday afternoon time frame tomorrow, you can see that kind of picks up right around when those storms move in. A lot of that there is kind of just a medium. What we really want to look at is our actual helicity, which is a measurement of the spin in the atmosphere, specifically at our lower levels. You'll notice that it is lacking just a little bit where the storms will be. The warm front is actually right here, or it's going to set up right along kind of the M46 corridor across central Michigan tomorrow. This is about the time when those storms will be rolling through. We look for helicity values at the lower levels of around 150 or higher, and they are right about that mark. But as you can see, the majority of that low-level helicity is going to be off to the north of the warm front tomorrow. So what that is essentially telling us if there's any storms that do happen to latch onto the warm front, there's a chance that they could do something, especially since it has the most favorable spin compared to places down south. Not saying that obviously places down south won't get anything, but they will. There's that little extra juice and lift that is associated with a warm front. So something to keep in mind. You also look at the 0 to 3. It's kind of the same story there. A lot of those higher values are just to the north or right along the warm front. And you can see there are a couple spikes on there where the actual storms are located. So there could be, whether that's linear mode or supercellular mode tomorrow, as you saw on the 2 different model runs, 6 hours apart. Some increased helicity is there for some spin along that entire line all the way through and down into Ohio. But again, as I mentioned about the warm front, that is something to watch out for. Going into lift, which is going to be over here on Pivotal. Lift is essentially our forcing mechanism that gets the clouds to rise. We're looking for values that are around -6, -7 for the day on Sunday. And as you can see here, minus anything pretty much in the red and very bright orange, I guess you could say, is going to be your -6 to -7 category. So there you go. Pretty much you can see exactly where that warm front is going to be setting up tomorrow. So right there south of Big Rapids, pretty much right where I'm located here in Mount Pleasant, just south of Midland, and then over there into the Thumb. Plus or minus about a 20-mile difference. So we'll see if it wobbles back and forth to the north. So there's a sufficient enough lift out there to get storms fired up. We go over to our instability, which is our storm fuel. Surface related at least. Again, we need storms to be surface based for them to be considered strong and get some of that hail, that wind, and even tornado threat to mix down to the surface. Ryan, we look for values that are over 1,000, 1,500 usually, and we are seeing, at least on the HRRR run, values that are 1,500 to even 2,000 at certain times. But as you go later into the evening, those values start to dip down because we're losing our daylight, which is another factor in terms of instability. A couple remaining storms could fire up behind the cold front, but those will not be severe on some leftover surface-based cape there. But again, we have plenty of instability out there tomorrow for severe weather, so expect a couple severe weather reports throughout the state tomorrow, given that it is a very juiced-up atmosphere. We also have to look at our last ingredient. We want shear, lift, instability. Now we gotta go look at moisture, which is our dew point temperature. That is the actual temperature. Moisture, dew point temperature. There we go. We're looking for temperatures, dew point temperatures in the high 50s, low 60s, and we got that tomorrow. Dew points across the entire state south of that warm front. well into the low to even mid 60s at certain times before that settles off to the east come Monday morning. So quickly dries out once we get into Monday. Snow filters in, but it is going to be a humid one out there on your Sunday afternoon. And that, again, that moisture, that instability, those two factors are primed and ready for tomorrow, and lift is sufficient enough. The shear is the one value that appears to be lacking just a little bit. So again, we'll see how all four of those ingredients play out tomorrow, and whether or not some sort of little capping inversion comes into play, which is basically an atmospheric lid on the atmosphere. But again, it's really going to be the shear that we're looking out for to see whether or not that does produce a couple spin-ups, as well as obviously the storm mode, Ryan, between linear and supercellular. That's obviously going to be something to watch with the model runs overnight. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
I will also say from yesterday, we are seeing a downtrend in what we're going to call helicity. We were seeing values yesterday of about 200 to 250. And that's the number Joel mentioned. You want about 150 or so at minimum to get concerned for like tornadoes. We were seeing yesterday 2 to 250, and now we're seeing about 150 or so. So we're at baseline. So overall, today's models are trending a little bit down in terms of tornado threat, but the wind threat definitely is still there across southern Michigan.
See, there was also a super chat when I was busy yapping away from Trisha, 1999 super chat. Thank you, Trisha, for your support of operations here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Appreciate you very much. So comment in here about timing if you want to go over hour by hour again, Ryan.
Sure. So on our models here, this is at 5 p.m. As it stands, we're seeing these storms develop pretty much across western Michigan. By between 5 and 6 o'clock on the model here, we have development across that southwest corner of the state. It'll race eastward here through the evening hours. Here is 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. This is p.m., Sunday afternoon, evening. 9 o'clock, and about 10 o'clock, storms are out of the state.
Again, I'll be working on a timing graphic shortly after this live stream's over, so it'll be on the page later tonight in case you did miss this information, or if you need to relay it to some of your friends and family. Which, speaking of which, if you have friends and family that, as I just poke my monitor screen there, if you have friends and family that are not aware of what we do here at Michigan Storm Chasers, again, feel free to share our content any way you want, whether that's sharing, liking, word of mouth, you name it. We will be live 24/7 if it requires tomorrow. We won't be live 24/7 tomorrow because it won't be severe all day, but we will be live from beginning to end anytime a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning goes into effect. And that is our motto here, beginning to end, anytime there's severe weather on any given day. So again, feel free to follow along, subscribe, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I saw a comment asking who's chasing tomorrow. We actually don't have too many chasers going out. Chandler, Alex, we have them going out. I believe we have Brandon, who is up in the thumb. I'm trying to think. We had Trisha plan to go out. But a lot of our usual regular people who are out chasing, we don't have too many of those going out tomorrow. Any questions, guys? Feel free to chime in chat here.
If you just
I thought my chat back a little bit. Sorry, go ahead, Joel.
Like I say, if you guys just are joining us, just missed it, obviously feel free to go back and rewind the stream. We went over a lot in the last 25 minutes, so it's a lot of data to go into. We had a quick rundown on the snow, the ice, and then we went into severe risks. And all our products so far can be found on our Facebook page, Michigan Storm Chasers. If you need a text product that might have been shown but you forgot where it went. And again, if you can't rewind the stream, you should be able to on YouTube at least, but if not, after the stream is over with, you can go back and watch it on YouTube. I will be on probably streaming ops tomorrow. Ryan is TBD. He actually might be out in the field.
Excited for it. I'll make a decision tomorrow, though. I believe you're going to be with Joel, and if not just Joel, Joel and me, or Joel and Nick. We also have dual ops going on in Indiana, so I may be back and forth with Caleb and with Joel and Nick as well, so I'll kind of bounce where I'm needed. Let's go back to the outlook here. So I have a lot of questions here for especially Southeast Michigan. I see Washtenaw County being asked. I see Macomb County, Wayne County, Monroe. If we look down the map here, back down here in Southeast Michigan, that is all these really tight counties here across Detroit metro area. You are in a risk tomorrow for severe weather. Again, further south you go toward the Ohio-Indiana border, the higher the risk becomes. Although the risk is there further north, especially up toward about the Tri-Cities area. That's where it kind of cuts off. Anything south of that. And that's because we have instability roughly around those same points. Anything north of that would be elevated hail type of situation. But yes, all those counties that were just asked, Macomb, Hillsdale, Lenawee, Monroe, Washtenaw, Wayne, you guys are all in a risk tomorrow. Main concern across the entire state, damaging winds. Large hail will be a secondary threat. And the tornado risk will be determined basically on what storm mode we're going to have tomorrow. And also if we're going to see a continued downtrend in our spin in the atmosphere, or perhaps an uptrend like we saw yesterday. So tomorrow morning, we're going to be looking at upper air charts. That'll be coming in play. We call them soundings, basically an x-ray of the atmosphere. Those will be a huge determining factor on our final call forecast for tomorrow morning. So I would say keep an eye on the sky, come back tomorrow, stay tuned to updates. Check back with us tomorrow around that. We'll say probably between 10 and noon. I'd say our forecast will be up on the page. Be pretty early.
So I believe there's something I forgot to mention, which was one of the fail modes for tomorrow. We didn't go over that, did we?
Not really, no.
Okay, so tomorrow, obviously, when you saw through the morning radar there, we went through it. There's going to be a lot of morning precipitation and perhaps some convection as well. There is a chance, and we saw that. I actually saw this in the SBC. They mentioned this down in like Missouri, southern Illinois, but also here in Michigan. Any strong storms could kick off an outflow boundary, which in turn would add extra lift to the atmosphere. And because those outflow boundaries are in the warm sector, it would pop up supercells, pretty much supercells, which would be unimpeded to anything else. Around that, probably the earlier time frame, probably 12 to 4 o'clock. And we really expect this to peak between 4 and 9, but anything could get going early as quick as noon. And again, if any outflow boundaries do kick off, we could see some isolated development prior to that peak timing. But again, right now we're expecting this to be more of a linear mode, I would have to imagine. And especially, we also have to watch out because too much rain, if it's oversaturated tomorrow, that will wash out some of our instability as well, and those storms will not be as strong. So morning / overnight / morning convection can either help or hurt tomorrow's threat. So we'll have to watch out for that tomorrow morning. We're going to be keeping our eyes peeled on the mesoanalysis page for sure come tomorrow morning. And we'll have, again, another briefing sometime tomorrow morning, hopefully before the storms get going underway. Muted. Can't hear you.
Oh, no.
There you go.
I'm not going to ask questions. I was going to say it's going to be a pretty early briefing, probably as early as perhaps 9 or 10 in the morning. So keep an eye on the page. We'll schedule it, let you guys know either later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. We'll announce when we're going to do it. But we will have a updated briefing to kind of go over everything in quick detail. And yes, Joel, I see a lot of questions for timing maps. Joel will have it out for you guys later this evening. What do you think, Joel? Before 9 would be an expectation?
Yeah.
Around or before 9. So watch for the page. We'll have a timing graphic for start times. I'll let Joel do his thing. He may add end times. I don't know. I'll let him do his thing, but he'll have the arrivals and stuff timed out for you guys. So no worries.
So there's another question in here about the ice for the UP from Trevor. This is from the NBM, which is a blend of about 40 to 50 different models. We can also look at the NDFD as well, which does have freezing rain. This is pretty much what the National Weather Service office is using. You can see even the NDFD has upwards of 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, even 0.7 inches of ice accumulation across portions of north and lower, as well as immediately along the Lake Michigan shoreline. And again, that is all over ice storm warning criteria between now and Monday morning. So brace yourselves if you're up there in Chippewa County, Sheboygan, Emmett, Presque Isle. I know Otsego in that, Alpena, Montmorency County even as well. I would go as far as to say maybe even eastern Charlevoix County there in northern lower as well. So all those counties I just mentioned, watch out. Southern Chippewa County, obviously I mentioned that already in the UP. You also have all those other counties, so Menominee County as well, which will see a mixture of freezing rain and perhaps upwards of 4 inches of sleet. We call those the forbidden Dippin' Dots.
I see a lot of questions here about a weather radio, and that's going to be the Midland WR120. That's going to be the model you guys are going to want to get. You can get it for $35 on Amazon, Meijer, Walmart, hardware stores. That is what we recommend everybody to have in their homes or offices.
There's also your NDFD snowfall total predictions there. So pretty much hugging that Lake Superior shoreline as well as portions of western UP. Similar to what we had in our graphics. See, there's a comment in here from Skylar, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Skylar. Will the lake have any effect on these storms? I'm in eastern Allegan County and wondering if these storms will be passed before they develop. It's possible, but that surface-based cape is going to shoot right up the Lake Michigan shoreline and fill right in. Again, a lot of the surface winds tomorrow are pretty much out of the south, so it's just shooting straight north. So Lake Michigan's not going to have too much of an effect on tomorrow's severe weather, unless you're directly, I should say, whatever is directly to your south will make an impact. So if you are kind of where the lake kind of dips back to the west, so north of that, so Oceana, probably Mason counties, and that's the most likely that the lake actually will have an influence there. But as long as there's no lake straight south of you, then your cape will just shoot straight up, and as well as all the other ingredients for tomorrow. So Allegan County, you guys would be in that warm sector, favorable for any severe hazards tomorrow. And thank you again, Skylar, for that super chat. Red Dozier in here, one of our longtime donors with 10 gifted memberships on our YouTube channel. Thank you, Red. And congratulations to our lucky 10 random YouTube subscribers who just been gifted courtesy of Red. So thank you.
Did we get Skylar's?
Yep, I was just reading that off.
Okay, cool. When we are done taking questions and talking about this, we have 2 packages from our Amazon wish list to open. So we'll put those at the very last thing we do here on stream. But in the meantime, if you guys got questions about the ice or severe potential, feel free to drop it in chat. We're live here for probably about 10 more minutes or more, at least.
The big difference in temperature is going to be your stationary / warm front. So warm fronts can be as little as 5 degrees, or on days like tomorrow, 30 to 40 degrees. So we've seen that all weekend, and it's not stopping tomorrow. Ryan, do you see that comment that just came in on Facebook? Can you go ahead and block that? You might have to go over to your phone. Actually, I can do it right here in chat.
I got it.
Okay, thank you. What happened to SBC watch parties? Man, do we have to stay up now tonight?
I know for me, I've been up until about 3 o'clock the last 2 nights. So if me possibly chasing tomorrow with ops perhaps for both states. I think we need to probably forego that this time. Maybe for Wednesday, though. We were up late last night tracking storms, so we want to recharge our batteries for tomorrow. But I think late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we'll have a watch party there to see if that'll do anything. Just because we'll have a full night's couple of rests after this system on Sunday, so we'll come in with the energy.
Another question asking about East Jordan for ice. Again, up there. I'd actually, Ryan, you want to go ahead and take our ice map up real quick? Let's see. There we go. East Jordan's going to be in that 0.2 to 0.4 range. It's also a hatched area where you could see upwards of 0.05 inches per hour in terms of ice accretion. So definitely East Jordan, watch out tonight. On top of what's already sticking out there, this is additional ice that's yet to fall. So I know some locations, actually I was looking at radar right as the stream was starting. Gaylord, right up the road from Gaylord, has reported a 0.55 inch freezing rain report so far. And there's still, again, as you can see on our map here, another 0.4 of an inch or more to come. And our average models actually indicate that. If I go back to the NBM here, the NBM is a blend of, again, 40 to 50 different models, and the average on the screen here is 0.5, 0.6, even 0.7 in spots. So you add those two numbers together from the past 2 days, and that's over 1.25 inches of ice total. I know you just pulled up the power outage map, right?
Yeah, 67,000 people are now without power across northern Michigan.
Wow.
I'm going to post out on that, actually. So bear with me. Here we go. Yeah, tomorrow, good point there, Drew. With the moisture tomorrow, it'll be probably the moistest, the most moist. Is there a proper way to say that? The most moist atmosphere we've had so far this year. So it's going to feel kind of warm and muggy out there, like a typical spring day for your Sunday, especially only really for the southern part of Michigan from basically south of Mount Pleasant. Anywhere north of that's going to be cold, bitter cold. Going back here to the model here, I'll show you guys the temperature gradient here in the state. Check out how sharp that the gradient is. So for example, if you're like in Lansing, you're at nice and pleasant 69, 70 degrees. If you're up here where Joel's at, up in northern lower, central Michigan or so, you're going to be in the 40s. If you're really lucky up there by Mackinac in the UP, you're going to be stuck into 20s and 30s. So very, very sharp gradient difference here. 70 to perhaps 20 to 25-ish in the western UP there. That's a 50-degree difference, 40-degree difference.
Yep.
Pretty sharp.
So there's a question about the Mackinac Bridge in here, and that's absolutely a possibility. They will close down the bridge if it gets just above freezing for falling ice. Again, that is a big threat up there at the Mackinac Bridge. I was thinking about that coming into this event a couple days before. I'm like, that's not only are we going to have the roads just absolutely messy, but when that ice starts to melt, it's going to start falling from the bridge. There's pictures out there, I think, before of cars that have been hit by just falling ice on the bridge itself. So when they close down the bridge, you definitely want to take that seriously because some of the ice that accretes on the bridges, they're like massive, giant sheets of ice. So definitely take those closures seriously. If you're passing under really any big things as well, something to take note as you move into the Monday time frame when all that starts to melt off. A couple questions about Discord in here. Discord is free to join. I know the mods have been talking about it in chat here, but the link is discord.gg/Michigan Storm Chasers. If you have weather anxiety and you're listening, we do have a channel in our server that is designated to those who do struggle with weather anxiety. So feel free to join the channel. And when you do join the Discord channel, make sure to change your nickname to a valid first name so we can reference you properly. We know who you are, and obviously if you do have a report to send in, we can use that name to the National Weather Service when they want to give credit to you. So, You're muted.
So we're going to have about another minute or two here of questions, so feel free to drop anything you guys want answered in the chat here. We're going to move on momentarily here to we have an unboxing of a couple wish list items that were sent to us. So, any final questions about the ice impacts or the severe impacts? Let us know in chat. While we do that, Joel, can we pop open the Pro Powder banner by chance?
I did already, but we can do it again.
Yep, I'm gonna give our shout out here. We have a sponsored spotlight shout out to give to our daily spotlight sponsor, Pro Powder out of South Haven. Powder coating needs for commercial or residential use. 269-637-8722 is the number to get a hold of them. Again, based out of South Haven in Southwest Michigan. I'd like to say thank you to Pro Powder for being our spotlight sponsor and helping keep operations rocking and rolling here at Michigan Storm Chasers. All of the ice storm warnings are currently on your screen scrolling. So those are all the counties currently involved. There's numerous. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
I have a general idea. I can do my best to list them. I know there's 7 counties, I believe, in northern Lower. Charlevoix, Emmett, Sheboygan, Presque Isle, Otsego, Montmorency, and Alpena. And then Mackinac County for sure is in that. And I believe Menominee, Delta, and Schoolcraft as well, since they are along the lake. But again, they are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. There's actually an ice storm warning in effect for Keweenaw and Houghton until the next 15 minutes. I'm guessing those are just going to expire because that was round 1. Timing map will be released for tomorrow later tonight on our Facebook page. But the general gist, as you can see there on the graphic on the screen, is going to be between that 12 p.m. time frame and 1 a.m. Monday night. The peak is going to be between around 4 to 9 p.m. tomorrow afternoon and evening. Nothing severe expected overnight tonight. This is going to be primarily tomorrow afternoon.
Nothing is severe tonight other than the ice storms. When I consider that severe weather, I mean, it is pretty impactful. But other than that, nothing severe in terms of tornadoes, wind, or hail. That's going to come tomorrow afternoon, evening. I don't see any other questions. Again, if you guys want the full details or just joining, feel free to skip back to the start of the stream. First, about 10 or 15 minutes, we talk over the ice, the snow, as well as the severe portion of the next 24 to 36 hours here in the state of Michigan. But we're going to transition now. Unless you have anything else you want to add to this, Joel, before I transition. He says no.
No.
We're going to transition over into the Amazon wish list. We have a wish list you guys have requested that we do. We did it last year. We have it still up and available. So we have a bunch of items from technology to snacks to all sorts of stuff on there. Goes to us, goes to our chasers, goes to our moderators. Numerous stuff on there. So feel free to hop on there and take a look if you're interested. Otherwise, completely optional. But we do have 2 packages here that were sent over the past week. So if you guys want to stick around and watch some unboxing, feel free. If you're heading out, be sure to like the stream. And again, check back tomorrow for updates on the severe weather concerns for the afternoon on Sunday. And again, we'll have updates for that Wednesday system as well. So I think that is going to be it.
I can take you full.
Do not take me full, please.
What do you mean?
My room is a mess.
Well, then move your camera up. I'll give you time.
There, it's pointing to the ceiling now. There you go.
All right. I'll take you full now.
Oh, goodness. No, take me off. Take me off. I got too much stuff behind me. Just keep me just like this. I gotta find my pen. All right, we're going to go ahead and crack this bad boy open. All right, we're going to move this back. Pop it up here. And what do we got here? We got a couple things in here, looks like. Number one is going to be one of our digital anemometers. This is a tool that we use to measure wind speeds. This one, I believe, also has like dew point, temperature, humidity, pressure, stuff like that. Very helpful to use out in the field. And looks like we also have a cigarette lighter splitter. So that's going to be to plug in our radios and all of our equipment as well. That uses 12 amp, 12 volt car chargers, cigarette lighter type of thing. And I think that is it. It is. There is a note here, numerous notes. This is going to be from Andrea. It says, enjoy your gift. You guys are fantastic, and I hope this helps. It certainly does, Andrea. Thank you very much for that. We'll make sure those get to our chasers who need them. We have another one here. Again, I'm going to keep it at my address hidden. I don't know how well my camera is going to pick it up, but you're going to crack this open. There we go. Move this out of the way. We got two things in this one, looks like. And we got notes as well. Perfect. Two of each, or two of the same thing. What is it? Perfect. They are our GoPro battery backups. So a lot of our chasers who stream use GoPros. I know myself. Joel does as well. And these will be helpful when we have extra GoPros rocking and rolling in our cars. Instead of having to recharge it and keep it charged, just pop another battery in, you're still good to go. So those come in very, very good use. And this is from Red Dozer. Thank you, Red. Says, you guys are hilarious. Do we have some kind of jerky treat snacks on your wish list? Question mark. I want the battery charger instead. Appreciate you all, from Red Dozer. Thank you, Red, for that. I believe I do have Slim Jims on there, unless they all got bought. But yeah, Slim Jims should be on there. But either way, appreciate you, Red. Thank you for your support, Andrea and Red Dozer. If you guys want to gift us stuff as well, we do have that wish list. Again, totally optional. It's not required. It's simply there to help us out, and it's completely optional. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, thank you, Red. Ryan, if you go back to your power outages, you'll notice that there is one provider there in Northeast Lower that is over 33% out, and that is the Presque Isle Electric and Gas Cooperative there. Again, that is in Northeast Lower. That is a lot of the power. That's a decent chunk of the power outages that's up there right now in Northern Lower. So
Let's go ahead and hit refresh on this. 68,000 now. Take a look and zoom in. Most of these are really within Northeastern Lower there. So looks like Menominee County also has a couple. 664. That will only grow, unfortunately, into tonight, into tomorrow morning. So taking it back to our severe outlook, we're going to wrap it up here fairly soon. We'll stick around for some final discussion and some questions. Go ahead and scroll up here, see if I missed anything.
Allen's, I guess, is over 66%. I missed that. You're muted, by the way.
I'm not muted. Discord just keeps on popping me out for some reason and just completely dies. I have to reconnect my microphone.
That's a good question. Does it come? Where does it go when you do gifts on the Amazon wish list? And I believe they go to Ryan's place. Is that correct?
Hi. Yes, they go to me. But they will get distributed to our chasers accordingly. In fact, just tomorrow, I'm planning to make a drop off to Chandler as well as Alex. Be meeting up with them in hopes of chasing tomorrow. So, but we also have numerous meetups with our partners and our chasers as well, who will be getting everything that was donated over the past couple of weeks and months. So, it will get distributed accordingly.
There's a question here from Eli. Do you guys only do Michigan? The answer to that is no. We actually do cover, not on this page, but we do have an affiliate page called Indiana Storm Chasing Network on Facebook and YouTube as well. So feel free to go give that a follow. Caleb does a really good job running that down there in Indiana. And yeah, if you guys are looking for full-time coverage down there, that is the page to follow. Guess on what watch type, if any, tomorrow. Probably severe thunderstorm watch. They probably save tornado watches for further down south. Just because we have lost some of our helicity values for, as we mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, some of those helicity values need to be 150 and higher, and we're seeing right about 150, but just shy of. There's a couple spots where it goes over, but yeah, the shear is lacking a little bit tomorrow. I know
The only way we're going to get tornado watch is if we see a big uptick in that spin or helicity. That's really the only way we're going to be able to get something like that. But again, a watch is a watch. Severe weather is still damaging. Winds can be just as damaging as a tornado. So it's important to take every threat seriously. So regardless of a severe versus tornado watch, severe weather is still possible in the state. Do you want to wrap things up here soon, Joel?
Probably a good idea.
Yep, we gotta do some work here. Joel's gonna make a time map, and I got some stuff to do as well. So we're gonna wrap it up here. But first, we have some sponsors to go through. Joel, do you want to do that, or you want me to do that?
I can cycle for. Oh, actually, I can read them off. Let me type a comment here real quick, though.
Okay. Do we have merch? Yes, we do have merch. Helicity.co is the website. In fact, I'm actually wearing one of our t-shirts right now. So if you guys want one, it is available. So keep an eye out for our limited edition, red, white, and blue logo edition. It'll be coming out for a limited time, limited stock, probably around that Memorial Day time frame in May. So it's got a few months left or a few weeks to go, but we always like to drop our limited edition merch during the summertime. So if you guys want the red, white, and blue edition, it is coming. But otherwise, the typical white, blue, and yellow is available.
All right.
If you guys want to recap, Crystal, I see your comment there. Unfortunately, we're about to pop out of there. If you want to recap, I would say start over, skip through the first about minute and a half of intro, and then we'll start talking about the snow, the ice first, and the severe threat after that. First 10 or 15 minutes of the stream, we'll have all the information that you need. All right? Go ahead and take it away, Joel.
Okay. We have, again, we can't do this without our sponsors. Sponsors are a very important role in what we do at Michigan Storm Chasers because what we do is not free. Starting first with our featured spotlight sponsor of the day, which was Pro Powder out of South Haven. Call Pro Powder today for any and all powder coating needs, powder coating needs, both commercial and residential. Again, 269-637-8722. At any point, as we scroll through these sponsors here, if you want to take a screenshot, feel free to pause the stream and go ahead and do that. We have a lot of them, over a dozen. But again, they'll help operations here at Michigan Storm Chasers, so we'll go ahead and go through them right now. Starting with Storm Guard Roofing Construction out of North Metro Detroit. We got Mike Hayes, Roofing and Siding. McKay, Tree Specialist. Got Lifestyle Exteriors. Kuiper Tree Care. That's going to be West Michigan. Katz Roofing and Siding. They're in Lansing. Gull Lake Tree Pro out of the Kalamazoo region. FBI Buildings, pretty much the entirety of the Lower Peninsula for barn dominium stuff. Henkel's Tree Service, Southwest Michigan. On Top Roofing. Guardian Technologies, which is responsible for our Skycam network across Michigan, which is growing by the day. Feel free to call the number on your screen there if you want a high-quality security camera. And last but not least, Floor Coverings International of Michigander. So thank you to all our sponsors who have so generously contributed to our operations here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Again, we can't do it without them. So feel free to support those local businesses that we read off and tell them Michigan Storm Chasers sent you their way. Am I missing anything?
Nope. I'm good on my end.
Okay.
All right, I think we're going to pop out of here, guys. Stay tuned for the time map coming up later. And then also tomorrow morning, another briefing and a final update on our forecast package. We advise everybody to keep in tune to the forecast. Make sure you have numerous ways to receive warnings tomorrow, as this is our first bigger day of potential severe weather incoming here for the southern part of Michigan. So make sure we're all ready and prepared. So with that being said, we're going to roll the outro. We'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Again, stay tuned later tonight for that timing graphic.
Have a good night, everybody. We will see you next time here at Michigan Storm Chasers.